Hi everyone, I've got an interesting kind of topic tonight. It's about when you have training set to do and you just don't feel like doing it. For whatever reason, you're just too stuffed to go into the gym and train. The main thing is you need to stick to your plan, but you need to adapt. If you are generally exhausted, tired, whatever, does that mean you don't train at all? No, maybe not. So to give you an example, tonight I've come in, my legs are absolutely trashed. I was supposed to do a very heavy back day and a heavy chest day. Now, debatably I could have done it, but I know I wouldn't be at a good performance level to do it. So what I've done is adapt. I've changed it. What I've decided to do is about an hour and a half of boxing. Now that's a long time. So I break it into 15-minute blocks and take a break between the 15-minute blocks. In that time I do a little bit of programming, a little bit of work. So I can mix some work and I can mix some kind of aerobic type training on the boxing. Now there's no reason why you can't do something similar. What you do is you change tack, you change plan. You've got to get your calorie burn for the day. For me, I have to burn around 1,000 calories to 1,200 calories through exercise. Now I have to do that. That's part of my plan. But it doesn't mean I need to be pig-headed about it and go, well, I'm going to train back, I'm going to do chest, even though I'm going to do a shit job of it, I'm going to do it anyway. So what I've done is adapted. Exactly the same as what you can do. It's not that you just don't come to the gym, forget your plan and go, I'll make up for it some other day. That never worked. So what I'm going to do is this boxing block setup, but I want to overload even further. So I'm wearing blood flow restriction for upper arms. That raises heart rate. It makes me work harder. I also get something of hypertrophy gain out of that as well because I'm doing occlusion training for the arms while I'm boxing. I won't get into these now, but they're an extremely effective way of creating an overload. So I'm going to integrate these as well. Now, also, you've got to make sure that, yeah, sure, my legs are fried, but am I generally in good shape to train? Should I just take the day off? Should I have a rest day? Okay, so I've got other things in place which I can measure that with. Now, a lot of my clients at Young Fitness Coaching also have the same, we're not privileged, but we have the tools that we can use to monitor recovery. And recovery is absolutely key because recovery will tell you whether you should or shouldn't train. Okay, so I have a system which I'm going to show you shortly, and it's called HRV. I'll take you through it very briefly, show you what it means. Everyone I train, in fact, anyone I don't train, you can use HRV too. It's an extremely effective way to monitor your recovery. That's one of the tools I use. Another one is I have a wearable device on. I know how many calories I should be burning. I monitor that every day and week by week. I set goals based on that. So I want to burn 1,200 calories-ish today. I can check it on this. So I'll be running that through my Fitbit app on the phone and monitoring that in real time as well as I'm boxing, making sure I'm keeping my heart rate up. All those things put together and be closely following tonight how I feel, plus my HRV, gives me a very strong indication I can still do a training session. It won't be anywhere near as hard as doing my normal chest back day, but I'm going to burn the same number of calories. It may take me slightly longer, but I'm going to adapt. Okay, so I've turned a very heavy kind of hypertrophy training session, a bodybuilding session, into more of a cross cardio session using BFR. Okay, as I said, HRV is an extremely effective way to monitor your recovery and how you're coping with stresses. For me, my major stress is, at the moment, amongst other things, it's training. So this is a measure of how my body is adapting. So these values here come up every day. 8.4 was today. My baseline overall was 7.9, and yesterday was 7.9. There's a sliding scale over at the bottom, and my vertical line shows I'm slightly in what's called the parasympathetic area. As long as I'm somewhere between those two lines, I'm good to train. So that gives you a quick single numeric number and a value and a bit of a descriptor as to what you should do per day, regards how hard you should train, whether you should have active rest, etc. There's a lot in HRV. I won't go into that now. I'm actually a HRV coach as well. So suffice to say that it's an extremely accurate and useful mechanism to gauge your recovery levels, apart from how do I feel? Do I feel tired or fatigued? These are very subjective feelings. Is my strength dropping? Again, very subjective. Of course, we can measure that, but it takes time. This is instantaneous. Now, if I go into my baseline, I can start to see trends. Now, I was actually training too hard at one point, quite recently. I've backed off a bit, and now I'm starting to adapt. Now, that line going up is a positive adaptation. Okay, now if I look, that's my daily positive adaptation. If I want to be more specific about training and how my training is being affected, I can go into a great deal more detail, and I won't go into too much of this now, but that blue line is again going up. It's a positive adaptation to chronic training stress. The orange or yellow line is my daily workouts. So around about the middle point here, I was training about perfect. Now I'm actually overreaching slightly at the moment, but I'm adapting well to it. Okay, so all things being equal, my HRV at the moment indicates that I'm good to go. Particularly for today, my figure was above average. I'm good to go. So even though my legs are fried, even though I feel totally wasted, my body and my adaptation and my recovery in general is actually really good. So this is kind of what I'll be doing instead of weight training. And I'm going to keep my heart rate up around about that 140, 145 for about an hour, hour and a half, as long as it takes to get up around that 1,000, 1,200 calories. That's it. So I have a bag set up a certain way. I try and make it as fun as I can because boxing for an hour and a half is quite a long time. And to be honest, even though my legs are fried, it carries through to my upper body really quickly. I burn out quick. So I do about 10, 15 minutes of this style of boxing. I'm by no means an expert on boxing, so I walk a bit. I try and keep myself moving. I have the side of the bag numbered, and I have sequences in my head that I follow. Again, if the bag starts to spin, I follow. I'm only allowed to hit the bag where I've actually chalked it up. So if it's spinning around, I've got to follow it. Keeping the arms up because it just takes a bit more work. You actually don't need to do too much in boxing. Just moving, punching, jabbing is enough to raise the heart rate. Heart rate's 134 and dropping. It was around about 145, 150. I've burnt 26 calories, 2,526. I'm getting very close to my active minutes goal, which is about 130. That's the most important one for me. If I get that 130, I've pretty much always reached my goals. I've got steps, kilometres and floors. They are just optionals. If I get them up, that's great. But the main thing is my heart rate's been high. It's dropping now because I've finished that bout. Again, my goal is, it would have been so easy, just not turn up, stay at home, put it down as a rest day when I don't need to because my recovery is good. Would have been too easy to do that. I could just come in here, keep the heart rate ticking over, feel good about it, you know, because I've actually got to the gym, burnt the calories I needed to do. I'm still bang on my goals, and I haven't been lazy. That's a win.